Coming up on this second hour of American Sunrise, new revelations about the FBI's conduct during the January 6th investigation are surfacing. Reports show that agents secretly pulled phone records from Republican lawmakers under the watch of then Director Christopher Wray and Special Counsel Jack Smith. We'll look at how far this surveillance went. Plus, private texts from Virginia's Democratic Attorney General candidate Jay Jones erupt into a national scandal. The messages included fantasies about shooting Republican lawmakers. President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance now calling on Jones to withdraw from the race. We'll take you inside of this controversy. And then later, Mexican cartels openly threatening FBI Director Kash Patel and the President of Mexico. This after recent seizures of cartel drug shipments. The latest on the escalating border crisis as this second hour of American Sunrise gets underway right now.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
We have breaking news to share with you.
politics,
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
we've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody coming to you from Washington. Let's bring in Dr. G in West Palm, T. Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning to both of you. Let me just say this. At this hour, actually within the next hour, 10 a.m. Eastern, James Comey will show up at a federal courthouse in Alexandria where he will have his first hearing. We don't expect a perp walk. The Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, has pretty much said that there probably will not be a perp walk. So we'll see what the visual looks like. Maybe it's a car ushering in quickly. But Gina, there are already, as we're looking at reports this morning, there are protesters out there on both sides of what's going to be a very interesting proceeding. And we'll see about the mugshot that comes forward afterwards.
What are they protesting? I mean, really? They don't want due process.
They call it a
here?
show trial. Yeah, the left is calling it a show trial. That I saw a sign that said show trial, yada yada yada. Seinfeld.
All right. Well, I guess I'll get my popcorn then.
Go ahead.
No
I'll
soup
grab
for
some
you.
too. Very nicely done.
No soup for you. All right, guys, let's get to some of the other big stories of the day. Texas National Guardsmen are waking up in Illinois this morning and preparing to be deployed in Chicago. Right now, the troops are staged at an Army Reserve Center just outside of the city. There are also reports that some of those guardsmen or even a separate unit could be mobilized to Memphis by Friday. Memphis's police chief says a group of commanders is already on the ground in her city, planning for the group's arrival. The moves are part of President Trump's efforts to fight crime in embattled Democrat-led cities. While Democrat Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is suing the Trump administration for the deployment or over the deployment of guardsmen in his state, Tennessee's Republican Governor Bill Lee is welcoming the additional resources. Governor Lee says the troops will be deputized by the U.S. Marshal Service so they can, quote, play a critical support role for local law enforcement. Meantime, a newly released poll is shedding new light on how Americans feel about National Guard troops patrolling the streets of our cities. The Reuters Ipsos survey finds that 58% of respondents believe that armed troops should only be sent to U.S. cities to face external threats. The poll says 7 out of 10 Democrats see it that way and half of Republicans agree. 37% of people polled support President Trump's right, or the right of any president for that matter, to deploy troops in states, even if the governor objects. However, 48% disagree. Critics believe the U.S. Supreme Court will ultimately have to decide whether President Trump has that authority. President Trump has a very busy day ahead at the White House, which includes receiving his latest intelligence briefing. After that, he'll participate in a roundtable on Antifa. You may remember the commander-in-chief signed an executive order last month designating the group a domestic terror organization. He also called for an investigation into whoever funds the group's protests and operations. 47 is moving forward with his agenda in spite of the current government shutdown. While hosting Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the White House on Tuesday, the commander-in-chief alluding to the shutdown potentially being beneficial for the country.
But we have a lot of things that we're going to eliminate and permanently eliminate. You know, one of the things that we have is some advantage, you could say, but because of the shutdown, which I think they made a big mistake, we're able to take out billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And they've handed it, on a silver platter. And, Russell Vogt, he's a serious person, very serious person, and he's sitting there and he's getting ready to cut things. And this is something that was handed to us by, I assume, Schumer. I just don't know if Schumer has any power anymore. I look at your leadership. I don't know who to speak to. I'll tell you what, I'm getting calls from Democrats wanting to meet. I never even heard their names before.
At the moment, the Senate isn't scheduled to vote on any government funding bills today. That means the shutdown will continue at least until tomorrow, when new votes on the reopening of the government are expected. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now let's get a quick check of your forecast. Meteorologist Adrien Hernandez standing by. Adrien, is starting to feel a whole lot more like fall. Last week it was warm here in the Denver area. Now it's in the 60s and I'm freezing my patookas off. I don't know if you know what patookas are, but mine are freezing off.
I don't know what that means, Terrence, but I think I'm not going to ask regardless. That is true, though. Things are definitely chilling out across the country. This cold front that's left behind some real cool air across this region. We do have active tropics out in the eastern Pacific, a system that's likely to dissipate and impact portions of the southwest with some moisture. We have a strong front that's raining down areas of the northeast, giving them a soggy start to their Wednesday morning. And then we'll also have, like I mentioned, that lingering tropical system bringing some moisture around the southwest. And Terrence, that includes you guys too out in the Front Range. Temperature-wise, as Terrence was mentioning, a lot cooler behind this front. Places like Minneapolis with a high of 62 degrees and likely to head out to the northeast as well as that front does clear, giving us better chance of seeing some lower temperatures all the way down in Georgia as well, where you get down to 72 degrees for your daytime high going into the weekend. Looking at the excessive rainfall outlooks, we have high chances of seeing the potential for some flash flooding around this region on days like Friday into Saturday. And of course, that will also extend its way out to the Front Range. We even have a coastal low headed out east with some better chances of also seeing some more flash flooding potential on Saturday well into Sunday, Terrence. So these are going to be some of the spots we're going to have to watch for the potential of some flash flooding. So if you are in these regions, just make sure you're taking things easy and turning around and not drowning, because as you know, driving through flooded roadways is definitely no joke, Terrence.
There you go. Adrien, always good to see you, my friend. Thanks so much.
You got it.
All right,
Terrence.
folks, let's get you over to David Brody now. David, good morning.
Good morning, T. Bates. Okay, so the Attorney General's race in Virginia took a shocking and a dark turn when violent texts from Democrat candidate Jay Jones resurfaced. In those texts, Jones talked about shooting then House Speaker Todd Gilbert and even wished death on his children. Jones is now admitting to sending the texts, and he's apologized. Democrats in Virginia still backing him, though. Here with the latest is someone very involved in Virginia politics. That would be the candidate for lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, John Reid. John, good morning to you. So we have a leading Democrat caught sending violent, threatening texts. So how can he realistically stay in the race after something like this? And by the way, where exactly is the Democrat candidate for governor, Abigail Spanberger? She's condemned the text, but how about pulling her support? Good morning.
Yeah, that's what everybody's wondering, is how long can this go on and how long can the Democrats continue to circle the wagon? I mean, they were very eager to get rid of their own governor when they found 30-year-old pictures of him in blackface just a couple of years ago, and they really wanted him out. But this, where a sitting legislator or somebody who's just out of the legislature is talking about using violence to influence a vote and talking about killing the kids of the legislator, I mean, does that not cross a line? And it's important that this is the AG's office. This is the office where you want someone who won't be hyper political, who will interpret the law fairly for everyone, you know, people who are Republican, Democrat, Independent, all types of religions, different backgrounds. So I do think it's a disqualifier for Jay Jones. And, you know, David, you've been a reporter for a long time. I was a TV reporter for many years. When this first broke, and everyone jumped on me and said, you got to beat this guy up for political reasons. I said, hold on, let's make sure this is true. And I held comment. And unfortunately, it turns out to be true. And I think especially in the weeks leading up to an election, it's important to double check. But it is true, and he's admitted it, and it's time for him to go and for the Democrats to withdraw their support. And I think it indicts their entire party and their current mindset of violence, to be honest with you.
So explain the political risk, because the situation in Virginia is so, if I understand it, so that it makes anyone, if they pull him, I guess, what happens? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, his name is on the ballot. People have already started voting here. They started on September 19th because the Democrats very manipulatively stuck us with a 45-day voting period. So some people vote on the 19th of September, and then other people will vote on Election Day on November 4th. And of course, they will be voting with a different set of facts and a pile of information that wasn't available on the 19th. So it's a really bad system that the Democrats gave us. They're trying to maximize the votes. I know what they're up to. But if Jay Jones were to withdraw, my understanding is the votes would still be tallied for him or against him. And then the Democrats, should he win in absentia, would have to come up with another candidate. But I mean, it's a whole mess. And the truth is, we've got a great attorney general right now. My running mate, Jason Miyares, he was a member of the House of Delegates. He's a very responsible man. He's done a very good job as attorney general. He doesn't play politics with people. In fact, there's some people in the Republican Party who are mad at him because he is so reserved and refuses to throw some punches that the activists want him to.
John, we got 20 seconds, but tell us the latest on the lieutenant governor's race. Give our audience what they need to know here.
Well, before this happened, this was the tightest race. I'm running against a lady named Ghazala Hashmi, who I describe is Mamdani in a skirt. I mean, she is almost a carbon copy, just a woman version of the socialist up in New York City. And I think Virginians aren't going to go for it. Everything that people hate about the public school system, closing the schools during COVID, the trans issue with boys competing against girls and being in the locker room, guess who's responsible for it? Ghazala Hashmi. I'm a reasonable guy. I'm a responsible guy. I want to be fair with everybody. And I'm a native Virginian. I want to bring that mindset to the Capitol. And I think that's why I'm doing so well in this race. And I hope people pay attention all the way through November 4th.
And your
John,
website?
Website.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're helpful to me. John Reid for Virginia, REID, JohnReidForVirginia.com. Thank you for that.
JohnReidForVirginia.com. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
All right, coming up, with markets on edge and Washington's spending out of control, Americans are looking for something real to protect their wealth. We've got some expert advice. That's next as American Sunrise continues, everybody.